We are good to go. Yes. Yes. Okay, Bethany, you're
Okay. Ready?
you're ready.
Okay, we're going to call the Central Board of Architectural Review, March 8th, 2024 meeting to order. Members of the public who wish to address the committee regarding an item that is not on today's agenda.
I'm not seeing anybody in the public and nobody online with their hand raised.
Okay, agenda status report.
No changes to the agenda.
Okay. You're gonna change the
I spoke to Tina and so it does,
mailing addresses.
the mailing address is Lompoc. So.
Crazy. Okay. Just making sure. Okay. The minutes of February 9th, 2024 will be considered. I have two corrections on bullet Roman numeral 3, member Clough moves, seconded by member Lapp, carried by a vote of 4-0 to approve January 12th, 2024 minutes. Member, it should say Lonis, Erickson Lonis. Will be consistent. And the other one was actually semantics, and I think it's covered. So.
I'll make the motion to approve.
As amended? Chris seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Good deal. Informational briefings. I don't know that I have anything. Nope. All right. Member recusals?
That's 1 and 2.
Okay. Clough?
That's 1 and 2.
Good. Staff update? Oh, sorry, I did not hear you. With you? 5. All right. Let us
Can you
roll.
hear me okay?
Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can now. Can you hear me?
Oh, we're getting it through there. Hold on a second.
Okay.
There we go.
That's better.
Okay. Go for it.
Okay, so I did have a couple of updates. A couple weeks ago, the County Planning Commission was scheduled to hear the El Cap Canyon campground appeal. However, that of the BAR's action, that item was continued. And I'll have to get the specific date, but that item was continued because additional information was entered into the record by the applicant. And it was information that the Planning Commission wanted some time to digest. So there was no action taken on that item. And upcoming items that you might be interested in at the Planning Commission on March 13th, the County Planning Commission will hear the Agricultural Enterprise Ordinance update from Long Range Planning. And then on March 27th, the County Planning Commission will, and also on April 1st and April 3rd, they'll hear the housing element rezones item. Those are properties being rezoned as a part of the housing element for use for housing. And then actually correcting what I said earlier, El Cap Canyon will next be heard on April 10th. So that's the date that it was continued to. And that's my update.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item S1 22 bar 178, John Sebastiano Winery site visit. We completed that this morning. So the first item on the agenda is the county sign ordinance discussion item. I see Ben Singer is present.
Yes, I am. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can. You want to go ahead and call up his item as the first item is the PowerPoint? So we'll get your PowerPoint going and you can tell us all about it. And you could just start talking anytime you want while she's getting it.
Sounds good. I'll do my little intro then while that's getting up. So yes, good morning, CBAR. I am one of county long range planners. We've been working on this county sign ordinance update. So I'll be going through a relatively quick presentation for you today on the changes. And then our consultants on this project and I will be available to answer questions or take comments. I do want to stress as we're getting into this, this is our current draft of the proposed changes. So these are not final. And as part of this, we are looking for your input on what you're going to be seeing in this presentation. So if you have questions or comments, or you see something you think is good, or you see something you think you'd rather see different, please do let me know at the end of it. And I'm happy to jot those down and we'll keep considering them as we work through this. All right, I see the presentation up. Please go to the next slide. Perfect. So this is a bit of project overview. The sign ordinance amendments are part of the larger zoning ordinance amendment project that the county is undergoing. Specifically, the sign amendments are part of these technical updates, which are efforts to consolidate and standardize existing requirements. So this isn't adding necessarily whole cloth new things, but it's kind of refining what we already have. Next slide, please. The main objectives of the sign ordinance amendments are to clarify the regulations, make them more effective, easier to use and understand, and consistent with free speech protections. This will update sign regulations in the Land Use Development Code, which is going to be your primary concern, as well as the Montecito Land Use Development Code and the Coastal Zoning Ordinance. With implementation of these amendments, Article 1, which is generally coastal signs, is going to be retired. It's a pretty outdated document anyway, but these are going to take over for that. Next slide, please. The proposed amendments will primarily carry forward and refine existing standards. Some obsolete sections, such as signs for shopping centers, are going to be deleted, and I'll go over the notable changes included in these amendments. Next slide, please. The applicability of these provisions has been updated to be more content and message neutral. It'll also allow for more usage of registered trademarks and make non-commercial signs subject to the same standards as commercial signs. These changes are to be more consistent with freedom of speech protections and state and US constitutions. The exemptions have also been expanded to include exemptions that are listed elsewhere in the code, as well as signs like addresses and historic plaques and no trespassing signs and things like that. We're also refining the exemption for temporary window signs to limit the size and how long the signs are there, since they're supposed to be temporary. Next slide. Prohibited signs have been expanded to explicitly include things like inflatables, streamers, and other attention-getting devices, unless they're specifically for a temporary event, so like an opening or something like that. You can still have some of these for a set period of time. Also prohibited are off-site signs, certain lighting for signs, signs in the public right-of-way or located on trees or on terrain, and some others that are also listed here. We're also simplifying how sign area is measured. So it's basically drawing 2 rectangles around the sign and taking that area, rather than the current method, which is drawing 8 straight lines. So that's just a little bit more confusing. So we're trying to make that clearer. Next slide, please. Changeable copy signs are currently restricted just to religious institutions for manually changeable and gas stations for electronically changeable. So this is proposed to expand to allow manual changeable copy signs for pretty much all signs, and allow electronic changeable copy signs for institutions as well as gas stations. Next slide. There are some general revisions to standardize the allowances for signs, as well as new descriptions for the size, number, and location of portable signs and permanent window signs. Some existing allowances for offsite signs are being removed, and freestanding signs, including pole signs, are currently proposed to be limited to 10 feet in height rather than what the height limit of the zone district is. The one sign per street frontage limitation for some signs is also being replaced with more appropriate thresholds, which would be like one sign per tenant space in a commercial development. Next slide. The permitting pathway will still be a signed certificate of conformance through the planning department for all non-exempt signs. Design review will still be required for all overall sign plans. And when a sign is part of a larger project that requires design review, or if it's required by some other factor, such as a zone district that requires design review for everything. The applicability of overall sign plans is being updated since the shopping center zone district has been removed, so it's just being revised to get rid of that. Next slide, please. The non-conforming sign standards are proposed to be changed to be consistent with regulations on other non-conforming structures in the county. So just to be, again, a little bit more consistent on that. There will be a new section added with standards for maintenance of signs, some of which is shown here. Next slide, please. All of the various zoning codes are proposed to be updated so that the sign regulations are consistent across the county in coastal, Montecito, and inland areas. And we're going to take out some redundancies, and then there will be new definitions added to make sure that everything is clear. And again, here are some of what will be more clearly defined in the new ordinance. Next slide, please.
Next.
There we go. And that concludes the overview of these changes. But as mentioned, we're here to answer any questions or take any comments that you have on this so that we can continue to refine these changes. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody from the public who wishes to comment on this?
Not seeing any, I don't have any public speaker splits, and I do not have anybody online wanting to speak.
All right. About the signs? Oh, yeah, you can do that. You could be hot down for a while. Donna, question?
Is there going to be another class to real estate signs?
Well, that's a good question. Ben, how does this apply to real estate signs, like for sale?
I don't believe real estate signs are going to change from how they're currently regulated. I have to look that up to give you a complete answer on what the current regulations are, but those are something that we're have in mind for this and will be defined, and you'll get the kind of allowances for what they can be, where they can be put and when and things like that.
Yeah, because I imagine the public rights of way and that kind of stuff. That's the big deal. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? That was a very concise presentation, Ben. Thank you very much.
Of course. Thank you.
If we think of any questions in the future, we can contact you. Is that all right?
Yes, absolutely. Feel free to send me an email or leave me a voicemail if you do come up with questions or comments. If you take a look at the presentation again or somehow or something and think, oh, well, I really would like to see this. Yeah, feel free to contact me.
Thank you, Ben. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Okay, item number 2, 22 bar 178, John Sebastiano Winery, Tier 3 Winery.
Bethany,
Yes.
this is Nicole. I'm sorry, I meant to mention earlier that Gwen Byler is gonna sub for me from about from about 10 to 11:30. So she'll be joining shortly.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, well, they're working on what to put up on the screen. I'll read the comments from last time. The proposed siting appears to be viable. When you return, the CBAR will need to see standard site planning information on plans that typically occurs when preparing the submittal. A site visit with story poles will be required. We just did that. In addition to providing visual stems demonstrating proposed colors, a second set of visual stems without landscaping or color applied to the buildings should also be submitted. The applicant has indicated willingness to take CBAR members out to the site individually as needed. Pay attention to the efforts of erosional features on site and demonstrate how the site design will take those features into account. No action. Item to return for further conceptual review. Is this the plan you want to start with? Which one do you want to start with? JSW ARC?
Yes, probably not very much that we can see there. I'd move into the architectural drawings.
To be this set?
And maybe starting off with the story pole plan that has the indication of
Is
it.
that a separate exhibit?
Yeah, it's 101.01 SP. Yeah, that's good. So we, upon reviewing the location of the building at the last meeting we had here, we decided to take a look at
think
the
it might be the
building
one next
further
to it.
back from the road. It's approximately 800 feet further from the road than the.
Is this the one you showed us on site? Because I'm not seeing the pole indicated. Is it this? No, that's a different one. You showed us a story pole plan on site that clearly depicted what the poles
Yeah,
were.
there should be one that has the red dash story pole lines. It's the same plan, it says overlay.
Go down, is it down on, is that just
It's
one
just
sheet?
one sheet. Do you know the name of the document?
It's just called A 1.01 SP for story pole.
Yeah, I don't think we have that one.
It probably came with the visual studies.
The architectural one. Yep, I don't think we have that one.
That one.
So I think using this.
Yep.
There's, what we saw outside today, there's two main ridges going sort of left to right here across the page, and then two smaller ridges at the front of the building, that are going in the opposite direction, and two gables were indicated and a couple of ridge lines. I think it helps pretty much indicate what the bulk of the building is. And, so in order to get to this point, we've relocated the building. There is some benefits to that, in addition to being further away from the road and reducing the visibility from most points along the drive. It also located in an area where there's less slope and we aren't pushing the limits of the maximum 16-foot drop in 100 feet of the building. So we're no longer even close to being having that be a concern for us. The building itself hasn't changed since you last reviewed it. We're able to keep the existing design, relocate it. All the concepts are still working the same. Parking locations, it essentially just ends up being a longer road in order to get back there. So, I mean, understanding we're here to really hear your kind of hear your opinion of the effect of the story poles and what you think think the location of the building and, that's the maps. I don't really have much else to present here because we've seen all this before.
Well, we can't really respond to, I mean, we're responding to what we're seeing today. We can't take any comments on site, so in order to elicit those types of comments, you need to show us. It would have been helpful to see the story poles, on the plan, but at least a site plan, walk us through the new location.
Yeah, we can go to the overall site, not the whole property plan, but the 81.1.
JSWR, yeah.
And there is a pointer right on the podium if you do want to use it, okay?
I'm sorry to interject right here, but I have the story poll PDF. Do you think I can forward it to you guys? Would that be easier or no?
We have to work with what was submitted and available for public review.
Understood.
Okay,
Yeah, let's keep going. Should be like from the next shield. Okay, all right, so this was the previous building location. And it was criticized because of the high
you
visibility.
should put your mouse over what he's doing.
Visibility even from the front gate down here. And we are also on, the site itself was steep enough and variable enough that we're really pushing the limits of the 16-foot limitation. So we kept everything down here as is. There's parking down here, that's our overflow parking, and extended the road up to an area where it's flatter than the previous site. It also pulls apart away from the road. And, you know, overall grading probably is about the same because, you know, we have more grading from the road, but the grading for the building would be slightly reduced from where it was previously. So, as I indicated before, this is approximately 800 feet difference between the previous site and the current site. The story poles that were out at the site were two main ridges running this direction here and a small ridge running here that would indicate the volume of the building as would be viewed from the public road.
Want to show some of the building and how it sits on the site?
Sure. It's a terrace building. It's a gravity assist winery, so we're able to use the existing slopes to our advantage. The fermentation area is on the uphill side, and there's a covered fresh pad up there. Additional parking higher than that is terraced up from that elevation. And then there's a 10-foot drop between fermentation and barrel aging in order to gravity assist with winery operations. The building is sided currently so that the midpoint of the building is roughly at existing grade. So we're trying to balance the cut and fill of the actual building itself and the excavation needed for the places. There's an outdoor terrace here this is an uncovered terrace. It's elevated from grade between 8 to 10 feet, depending on it's 10 at this corner, 8 corner, I believe. And then there's a terrace, a trellis terrace that's in between these two gable-ended tasting rooms on the as part of this whole hospitality component here.
Okay.
Maybe we ought to do that elevations.
Yep.
So this is the entry. Here we go. This is basically the entry to the winery right here. Parking would be on that same elevation. And then the dotted line you can see is the existing grade. And sloping up toward the parking in the back. the dash line above indicates the height limit for under. And, the building is, we're really using all this volume here because we're stacking our barrels high in the drill storage area. We have the clearances that we need for our fermentation operations. And we're putting in, some small sort of second floor areas within the hospitality part of the building in order to reduce the footprint of the building. This is the side that's facing toward the highway. So these are the two main ridges here, this one and this one that were indicated with the story poles. And then this third one over here. Also take out. This is the uphill side of the building with the crush pad, and in the foreground would be the additional parking.
What's your current height at the various
Well, it
peaks?
varies quite a lot, so, here,
That information should be on here.
Yes. on the drawings. So we are at 35 feet to there's a cupola up here. We're 35 feet to the cupola. Actually, if you go back to the other page, that shows, that's where we're showing dimensions. Easy to read. Go back to the east elevation.
In the future, if you can put the dimensions on all the elevations, that'd be great.
So this elevation here is 34 feet 6 inches.
Yep,
This one is 35 feet to the cupola. The cupola doesn't run the whole way. It's actually just about half of it. Those are the two hardest points of the building. We have the landscape architect here as well. And I don't know if you'd like to ask any questions of how, I do want to make it the point that there will be some screening around the building. And it doesn't change how tall the building is, but it does change how the building would be viewed, from the public.
we were just looking at a lighting plan. Want to talk about that real quick? Any fixture selection there?
This one, Bethany?
And are these shown on the elevations?
Yes. Yeah, we have all shielded fixtures, natural patina colors, and some reset lighting that's recessed into some of the other banks. It's all indicated in the drawings, and we have a separate lighting plan. Sure. A 2.1, A 2.1, we're short lighting.
I think this is the last sheet in this set.
You said A2?
Yeah, 2.01 and 2. So let's see, it should come in after the elevations. Yeah, should be right after the elevations and split sections and then lighting.
There are only 12 sheets in this set. You might want to do that.
Same set that I have. There it is. It is actually. That's not it. Keep going. It's toward the end of the set.
Keep going. Those are the elevations, there's your sections.
There it is. Okay. That's the first drawing.
No, those are-
We have, we have very minimal lighting facing toward the road. There's really not any activity really over on the side of the building. We have some barn lights along the parking lot side and some recessed lights over the entry feature here.
Mhm.
And we'll have some, just landscape lighting up in the trellis at this main terrace. And very minimal lighting around the front portion of the building. This is, really what is the south. Yeah. So really, we try to concentrate that lighting in the areas where it could be used by the public. And then if we go to the next page, show that we have, we've got lighting as required, just for the functionality of the tasting room, of the production area. But this area was purposely screened off from the road. So we actually have building blocking that all off so that we minimize the kind of glare if we're doing it, after dark operations. Vertical plan, anyone?
Nope. You
We
wanna,
also have the visual studies
yep,
that we could go through.
it's over here.
These are all done so that the building would be as visible as possible. Now, not actually based on reality, but, so the building is shown as white with no screening around it. We have a series of views, that were the same views that we showed with the previous building location. So we wanted to show what the difference is. Yeah, so you can see this is starting. We should start from probably it's a different view. And we should start from. They follow just tracking as you go. There we go. Okay. So this is the view as you just go past the entry to the property. And then, let's go to the next one. That is moving up the road. There are places where there's some berms, some knolls in front of the building where you don't see anything at all. And so we did show, we're showing these views in there where the building is the most visible. Go farther up. And then, we have a view from the other side, looking if you keep going. Yeah, this view is coming, if you're heading east on the road, this would be the place where the building is probably the most visible from what we can tell anyway.
That's the 101 freeway?
No, 240.
Good for you, I'm sorry.
Right.
Can you blow that picture up? Please. This is an accurate rendition of where the story poles are.
Yeah, it's based on, a photo montage and using as much accuracy as we could reasonably.
Excuse me for is that the new South one?
This would have been earlier.
That's the end.
That's not the same as, they don't have pictures representing the one where you look through. Above the sky, you can see skyline. That's not represented.
So I went up there and drove up and down the road a couple times at our meeting today. And I didn't see a place where you could actually see the above the hills. About a 4 or 5 second stretch as you're heading west. Coming back from the east, I didn't see anything. And I think it's just because the angle, as you get farther away, your angle of view changes. And you're looking at,
Well,
and that's that view, I think it's in that.
I could see it from both directions. No problem. Same deal, but I wasn't driving. And the assumption is, I think a lot of people make the assumption that because the driver is looking ahead, they're not gonna be looking over here. And we forget that, often, although we all like to drive along, and we make lots of trips that way, but there are often other people in the car, and that's what we're talking about the whole view. So it's quite, it does skyline from both directions, if you look. Because we did the same thing. We drove it. But yes. Yep. That's the difference between this one and that view, yeah. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Is there any other portions of your submitted the landscape, anything else you guys need to?
Okay. And so, I'm assuming you're gonna have some comments and observations, I have a chance to respond to those.
Well, what we're gonna do is, you make your presentation. We ask any questions, if we have any quick questions, and we've kind of done that, kind of sort of. What we'll do is we'll go up to public comment. Take public comment if there is any, and then we will begin our deliberation, and at which point we're going to give you what we think. And that's the end of the dialogue. There's a dialogue at that point. And unless we are wildly off base and unfactual, which I don't think happens. I mean, basically, we're just taking our comments, and Nicole or Gwen or whoever is just gonna be writing down our comments to be forwarded to you so that you can respond to them.
Okay, well, then maybe I'll just like my own observations
Sure.
here based upon what we saw today.
Mm-hmm.
So, looking at the grade around the building and the, the sort of relationship of some of the, like, the sort of the hospitalities,
Go back.
southern hospitality portion of the building, I think that we can make adjustments to how it's sited and stay within that general location.
Mhm.
I think we could, a combination of drop the finished floor a couple feet and slide it to the south a bit, which would, I think we could probably bring the whole building ridge lines down approximately 4 feet across the whole length of the building without having any sort of a massive impact on the ground grading. So it would definitely be more cut, but as you can see out of the site, we could use some dirt out there. I don't think using that dirt is a problem. I know the numbers may look high, when somebody says 35,000 cubic yards, that sounds like a lot. I don't think it's a lot, that's nothing out there. And I think that could easily be utilized both with the grading for the road and potentially trying to mitigate some of the erosion issues that we were looking at earlier today too.
Yeah. Cool. That you want to,
Go to the next sheet.
So this is our entry off of 246 here. We'll have some enhanced landscaping as we enter and then along the driveway as you approach. We do have overflow parking located down here. It's right going into the existing storage department site that will remain. Again, added landscaping and trees within that overflow parking. And then as we approach the driveway coming up, where there are any sort of grading along the driveway, we have added some vegetation to help stabilize any of that grading as you go up the driveway. Please.
Oh, that was the last sheet.
Yeah, you can go back to the sheet one.
this one.
Yes. So this was the existing fence that we drove up to this morning. The driveway continues. This dashed line is more or less the sort of road that we walk. So you can see how far away the driveway that we're proposing would be from where we walk and it's sort of the goal of the existing eroded, water spillway that we, all looked at, their driveway here. Again, we are proposing that have some vegetation to help buffer and separate between the driveway and help stabilize that slope. You're indicating potential new vineyards here, or just approaching the building, and then as we get close to the building, we have a parking area, again vegetated with trees and, this is aesthetics for the approach to the winery. Roughly about 20 spot from here. And then as we continue up the hill, we'll be parking and additional parking, just turn around and whatnot, parking above on top here. And that terrace sort of seating area, and lower, garden and plant material will be included off in this back area as well. And we are indicating trees on the west side, space throughout that help buffer the view from Highway 46. Space those activities for our family. 46. Probably enjoy the oak trees, so that help again buffer the view. We are indicating a lighting plan on here as well. We got all our fixtures. And sort of outlining, downlining, indicator lighting. I can find that we show.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right. Do we have any public comment?
Anybody in the audience wants to, no, let's see. We do not have any public comment for this item.
Okay. Not online yet, all right. I assume you guys didn't have more questions. I'm sorry, I skipped that part.
Well, I have a question.
Oh, okay, well, go ahead.
Scott, am I correct in assuming that you're using the existing entry that we went in this morning?
Correct.
That would be the drive up that hill.
Yes.
You know what the grades are on the.
Yeah, so where we drove up, that sort of, they're going probably be to the right of it a bit. But we are staying on that.
I know it's conceptual at this point, but any indication what the surface might be in the driveway?
Probably first option would be a chip seal. Yeah.
How big is, how many spaces in the lower parking lot?
So for parking, there's 82. A lower parking of the parking. 22. Another 2 80 spots by the winery, and another 30 for.
So I just want to make a general comment, but I think we've never addressed this to some extent, but I think the grading is massive. The large site, obviously, but the grading seems to be really extensive. I think the landscaping courses will be really important to mitigate all that grading. And one other question I have for the applicant is, so this is 1,003 acres of grapes. How many acres are in grapes at this point, and how many acres would eventually be developed on the site?
And so currently, the plans and development and also existing on the site is about 127 acres. Mr. Wagner, who owns the vineyard that we're just talking this week, that farther to the east, after consultation with Fish and Wildlife, he wants to put more acres of grapes. The Sebastiano vineyard is top ranked. It's one of the most advantageous grapes, and they export everywhere on that. And he's trying to meet that demand plus with the winery. So there will be probably several hundred more acres of grapes planted farther to the east.
Okay, and then all those grapes, will all those be processed on site, or are you selling out straight?
Well, he exports primarily wineries here in Santa Barbara County and San Luis Obispo County, but the winery, that will be all state level. It'll all be run on site. He has enough grapes right now that would actually do that. but he also needs to keep his commitments to his customers.
Will the larger trucks for the exporting process and the harvesting process, will they be using the same driveway?
Yes, they utilize the same one. We're doing the fire department standards. It's a 24-foot wide road, so they'll be using that one right there. There's no access to the more farther western driveway. It accesses where the actual vineyards are. So what we're doing is they actually bring them down and then would come up here to process in the winery.
So it'll come back on 246 and then.
Right. And there's already left turn lanes, all the improvements there, and we're consulting with Caltrans should any additional improvements be necessary.
Any other comment? You want to start it?
I'll read that portion.
Yeah.
My second time to the site. I'm not convinced that this site is even better than the first site. Given the fact that there's a rural feeling to it and it's completely exposed out there. The building is extremely tall. And I asked the owner when I walked and the story pole, so I think that needs to really be considered on the location of the building due to the fact that it's a wind tunnel coming from east, well, west to east, off the ocean. And the public sitting side is on the west side of the building. And so that's a big concern of mine. Also, the grading where the that gully is, ultimately there's maybe have to be a bridge there or something which will also, I believe, will be a nice work. So the vegetation, I do not think will hold that back. What else? I just think the scale is too big. I like the size, but I think the scale is too big.
And specifically too tall.
Yes.
I concur. I'm also concerned with when we drove by this morning, perhaps when I wasn't driving, we saw a fair amount of that building over the bridge line. And I think, I'm not going to argue about whether or not the building is too big or not. I don't know the line business what you need. It does stand out. And whatever you use to color it, I think it has to try to blend in. But I'm also concerned with it sticking up above that ridge line. And I don't go for the fact that, I think you said it was a 4-second ride or whatever. We don't have any rules that say we give it a minute or 2 minutes looking at it, it's over the ridge line. I'd like to see you try to address that somehow.
Okay. Well, I'm going to concur with a lot of things that everybody's already said. There's always a discussion, or there's always some tension between some of the findings the planner may be making, specifically with regard to grading and our a lot of what we're doing with the site planning and everything else. With regard to the intrusion into the skyline, it really needs to be fixed, and I think that's a little bit of a golden opportunity for you. I think you could lower it without pushing it into the ground and generating more grading. I think you could just lower the building just enough to do that. And if you, I'm open to being convinced that taken with reducing the overall height, you could also kind of sequester it, push it in and maintain your gravity feed. I think you could do that quite successfully, and you know, to get it out of that skylighting situation. However, I would not support solely pushing it into the ground. The height, the overall height of the building needs to be reduced. It's just too tall, especially given the length and breadth of it. I know you've broken it up. You've been fairly successful with a lot of eaves, and you've got a lot going on with the building. But I think that when it comes down to it, you either need to break it apart or you need to reduce the height. And I think you really just need to reduce the height. The lighting, I think you're well and truly overlit, on the west side. Let's see, this side over here. That is what you're calling the west elevation? Okay. All right, so the west elevation, you don't really have anything over there. That's windbreak. That's the big view that's more straight on to 246. And it just seems to me that you don't really need any lighting over there at all. And as far as I really appreciate what you've done in the work area, where you've tucked things up underneath and you really got the actual structure itself really containing that light. So even if it's going to splash out, it just really doesn't have anywhere to go. It's just got that little bit of hill there. And that's really appears to be well done. A lot of thought went into it. I'd like to see a reduction of even on that interior courtyard in here on the parking side. There's a lot of lighting that you don't need for wayfinding. You're lighting up your beautiful building, which is wonderful, but it's not needed. And I think that you could reduce that. And then I appreciate tucking things up under that trellis that's up under here, but everything kind of, the lighting just needs to go on a diet. And there's no other way to put it. But really, it's one of those less is more. And because there's a point in your lighting plan where you get to that point, and now because we have bright lights here, now our eyes can't adjust fast enough, so we can't see what's over here. When if we had fewer lights and lower lumen levels, just what you need, then yeah, I could still see into that slightly darkish twilight area, but with the big light, now I can't, because my eyes can't adjust fast enough. So I think I'd go for the less and keep that kind of ambiance. I think it'll help sit the building into the site too, especially at night. I'm really concerned about the erosion and in this arroyo down in here. And I appreciate the fact that you pulled that road back. I mean, that's really something you were going to have to do. But I think that, and this is going to come down to Tina, and what she needs. But I think you really need to kind of jump the gun a little bit here and really figure out what your strategies are and what you're going to be doing so that you have something that's, this is the wrong word, but I'm going to say it anyway, that's convincing about you're going to be able to stop that erosion. And then if there's something else that the owner wants to do as far as aesthetics, at least we know what that's going to be like too. Like if that's where that's your choice for disposing of any excess cut, then fine. Want to see it. I want to see you develop that. And I know that's it's a little out of phase. It's a little wacky because that's usually something that happens more preliminary. But I think before I'm ready to say, yeah, we're good for preliminary, I'd like to see a slightly more solidified discussion about what exactly you're going to be doing there. Is that where you're going to be putting your soil, or how are you going to stop the erosion? Are you actually talking about some kind of built thing, or are we talking about something that's more like jute netting? I mean, there's lots of area there to do it. And I think we need a better idea of what that's going to look like. Yep. Tina, I have a quick question. As far as the approval path, will this be going to another decision maker? Planning Commission? All right. So we would have to ask you to take this plan to the preliminary level, where we would be we'd be ready to grant it preliminary, even though you're still here for conceptual, before you go to the Planning Commission. So that makes me feel a little better about asking for the information on the erosion, because you're gonna need to do that anyway. And then that's what we'll do. We'll take it to that point where we go, hey, this is ready for us to grant preliminary, we're comfortable with it. And at that point, Tina would have you go to the planning commission, and then when you come back and it's just, the preliminary is more of a walkthrough because the other decision makers already had their say. So I think that's what I'd like to see. The other thing I'd like to note is, you should put your dimensions for heights for all those different, portions of the building that where you've broken it up. I know you've got some, well, this is where we're highest and so on, but it needs to be, and it should be on all the elevations. And I appreciated the one that, I think it was 34.6. We could actually read it on the screen. Because that's always oh, my dimensions look huge. In the text box, huge. But that's just, yeah, it's one of those things. Otherwise we're zooming in and out, and then we get seasick. So, so thank you very much for making that legible and readable on the screen. As far as the landscape, it's always, this still feels, and this kind of, I think, maybe is prompted a little bit by some of Lowell's comments, but it seems a little, I know you've got to get buses and trucks and stuff, and you're going to be getting things around, but that back parking lot and everything is, that's going to be a challenge. And I think you could be better served by, especially if what you're doing when you're moving things around and maybe hopefully cutting off a little bit of the building height and then pushing it down a little bit. I think what's going to happen is you might find that you need more of a ramp between that. Don't worry about that being so disconnected, and just go ahead and kind of maybe celebrate the difference in elevation a little bit and get rid of some of that paving. I think it's an opportunity to remove some of the paving, and make it less like you're driving through a working area to get to my parking spot. I know it's more the employee parking, but still, I think you could work on that. That's more an aesthetic comment. That's not a deal breaker. The height of the building is a deal breaker for me. So, okay, I think those are our comments. Anybody else? All right. Very quickly.
So if we do these adjustments that we're talking about, lower the mass of the building, maybe reduce the elevation of the cut a little bit, and come up with the dimension that we've accomplished, do you think that we would have to start all the project again?
No, I don't believe so. I think we have an understanding of the site and everything. I shouldn't expect, at this point, I don't see any reason to trigger another site visit in storage pools. I think we're working with the site you've got. That help? Yeah. I hope so. Okay. Thank you very much. Item number 3, 24 bar 14, Spence addition. Yep. They were standing right outside a minute ago.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Oh, they're coming.
Okay. I just open everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it. Thanks, Tina.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you can, I'm not sure, you look vaguely familiar, but if you can introduce yourself and then show us where we are, vicinity map, and then go ahead and make a presentation. I know you haven't been here for this project before. And then what we'll do is we will ask you any questions for clarification, then we'll go to public comment, and then we'll do our deliberations. Perfect.
I'm Alpha Reader with Mitchell Construction here on behalf of Tina and Branson. And this is a residential remodel project that's proposed on the Gaviota coast side of Refugio Mountain. So this is up Refugio from the ocean side. Because sending that being in black and white, it's hard to
Can you scroll in there?
show where we
Zoom
are.
into that.
But if you, yeah,
She's getting there.
perfect.
The other one down.
I think the large files, it's a little slow. Bear with me.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
That's awesome.
Yep. So that's the project site.
Right.
There you go.
Right there. That's the 101 down by the ocean.
So it's a long driveway.
Right, it's actually right under the Reagan Ranch, so.
Oh, okay.
nearby.
Well, that
You
explains
get
that.
Lunch at this home.
And now we all know where it is.
So
Okay, you
this
can
was
zoom out.
built in the 70s. It's an existing earth tone structure. It's got dome roofs and it's clad in stone veneer, also earth tone colors. It's very difficult to see from any of the roads, but
You
it
wanna
is
look,
up there on the
do we need to
hillside.
look at photos?
Sure, we can look at some photos.
That might help with you.
So when you drive onto the site, you drive up the road and it's
Oh,
a
wow.
private road and you come in from behind the structure. So you're also overlooking the ocean when you drive in. So this is kind of from the driveway. The ocean is out beyond the structure. And that's the existing house there. As you can see, the earth tone colors
Okay.
existing, stone veneer existing. So very natural landscaping, nothing ornate or, everything's very water tolerant, drought tolerant.
Yeah.
Okay, so there, as you come around the driveway, there's a carport underneath this smaller form that's closer to us. And it's an open carport now, and we are proposing to infill that carport and create a functional kitchen. And create a small 70 square foot addition for an entryway.
Okay.
And that'll happen again on the mountainside, not over the ocean.
It'll be
There's
in
the view
there.
of that carport that we're intending to fill in. And that's the
Interesting.
existing entry door right there. Yep, and that's where we will propose the same new addition.
Pulling
for-
out, okay.
pulling it. That's-
Yep, there's your door. All right, keep going.
So as you can see, the majority of the structure is clad in that stone veneer. The upper loft portion is a earth tone light colored stucco. And the eaves are currently about 2.5 feet deep, so it's quite a bit of an overhang.
Mm-hmm. This looks like on the backside.
That is the back side. In that big tower there is the existing kitchen, and it being round, it's very, hard to use.
Difficult.
Right. And that's just kind of a view of how the terrace overlooks the ocean on the backside of the property. You'll see at the very back there, there's what the homeowner calls the Eagle's Nest.
Mm-hmm.
That is the inspiration for the new entry form. So
Okay.
the intent is to use the circles that appear elsewhere in the structure and to try to give that same feel consistently through the new design.
Okay. Go back to project plans.
One more comment that I'll make is that on the far end of the, we don't need the pictures for this, I'll just explain it. On the far end of the carport, there's an existing music room.
Mm-hmm.
So it's permitted as an accessory use. And so part of this project is converting that to habitable space.
Okay.
So when you look at the numbers, it's reflected in there as part of the calculation. Okay, so this is the as-built plan. You see the open carport, the music room down here.
Mm-hmm.
There's the entry door there.
And the Eagle's Nest is the,
Right.
yep, right
Yeah.
there.
Right, and so the ocean is beyond the project.
Got it.
And if you go to the next page, you can see, here we are, yeah. That's the little proposed addition,
Oh,
turning the carport into the kitchen. Redoing the existing kitchen into an open dining area. And internal only, remodel to the existing master bathroom.
who designed this originally?
Originally, this is the Cliff Hickman house.
Oh, Cliff.
So he both designed and built them.
Oh, yeah. Okay, keep going.
Okay, so this is showing in the back the as-built conditions with those two big sliders that you saw in the photograph and the eagle's nest. And then showing the front of the proposed new addition, tying the existing eave line of the carport into the entryway so that it's kept very modest, low form. You can't see it from the ocean side of the building at all. You only see it under. And we are proposing to match the existing colors and materials. So the roofing material, stone cladding here, the windows, everything would match what exists there now. No cut and fill, no proposed landscape. Residential remodel,
You're not even changing the building footprint at all, so.
just slightly by 74
Well,
feet.
where it pops out.
Right, that's
At the
small.
entry.
Right,
Okay,
very
yeah,
small.
okay. Any questions, board?
No.
All right, public comment?
We don't have anybody in the audience and no one online that wishes to speak on this item.
Conceptual. It's the first visit.
I think this is completely appropriate and, have no issues with this whatsoever. It's project moving forward. I'd like to see it, preliminary final.
Okay. Jonathan,
I have a quick comment though. I think of the site plan, I'm just wondering, would the
Next one
development
down.
improve a little bit if you had another carport? Because we're, the car is such a lovely architecture blending into the hillside, and then when you arrive, what was the thinking
So,
there?
yeah, how are you handling that?
So currently, the plan would be uncovered parking. There's that large open parking area, and that's the plan for now. There is a future hopeful proposal for a detached garage, an actual garage. But that phase 2 of this project is largely dependent on cost. So I think it really depends on getting this portion of the residential remodel completed, and then the homeowner can look at how to fund the future detached garage.
Any other comment? I think we're all on the same page. I think that summed it up for all of us, so.
Excuse me, this is Gwen here. I had a hard time hearing that comment. Could you repeat it for me to write down the record?
And I can repeat it loudly.
Thank you.
Mark's suggestion was that, or her statement was that, she fully supports the, remodel and slight addition of 70 square foot, and the fact that the applicant is continuing in the same style, materials, and details. And to that end, she would like to see it return preliminary final.
Oh, great. Perfect. Thank
And
you.
Add to that, Gwen, make sure that the notes include that on the elevations that you have extensive big note that says all details, materials, and colors to match existing. Make sure it's on the elevation. And anywhere else you feel like you want to put it. Are you adding or changing any lighting?
There will be new lighting at the new entry as required by code.
Okay.
We're intending to keep that at the can under the eave this time. So
Okay, that, we would support that. We would support that light. So that sounds great. Return preliminary final. Thank you. And sorry I didn't recognize you. Okay, item number 4, 24 bar 23, Rennick Glick, new single family dwelling. And I believe this is also here for the first time. I'm just gonna let Teresa get her. Yep.
Okay. Which one would you like me to?
Can we show, I had trouble determining which site this was. So if you could zoom in. I know it was a little ambiguous. Now, it says that. Um. Yeah, was this a recent purchase? Is this a different purchase? Because I thought I met with the owner of this property.
Since November, yeah. It hasn't changed over in the county since it goes every 3 months.
Right, okay, good. Otherwise, I would have to be leaving the room, so. All right, we're good to go.
Okay, so we'll put the signature with the owners. Just to kind of get the orientation on it here. So,
Just don't look at the end.
so anyway, Maddie's Taverns, I've been here just kind of giving an idea. At the end of a cul-de-sac, and we kind of enter into the property. If you want to do a site plan, I'll show you, but what that looks like. Again, it's an empty lot right now. It's a fairly flat site. The pad itself is pretty flat. There's a little bit of a grade change back in here. And then, of course, this slopes down to kind of a swale. It's not really considered a water creek, but it's a swale. Most people seem to be familiar with the property. So here's the end of the cul-de-sac. And then there's an existing driveway right here that ends about here. And so we're gonna kind of pick up with that and just continue in and add a couple of open spaces. Do a 3-car garage detached, technically detached, but connected with a trellis. And then a single-story home here with a outdoor rear lanai and a outdoor patio area and a small barbecue outdoor area here. Siding, standing seam roof, we may change that asphalt shingle based on the budget, but presenting the standing seam options.
It's thinking. Sorry, our Wi-Fi is interesting, and every now and then it packs in, and sometimes it kicks us completely off and we have to restart everything, so.
And you go to the black sheet, set where the photos. You get there.
For reference, if you break it apart, it's often easier. Yep, there you go.
Let's go.
Number.
There, oh, just to kind of give you the lay of the land. Again, fairly flat property.
Yeah, just
Here's the driveway. Coming in, looking back out for the cul-de-sac. Here's the driveway pulling into the cul-de-sac. So there's kind of property. Neighbors, pine stream pretty well. This is the swale, not considered shoreline creek or storm drain, well, more of a storm drain. Yes. It is open. It has kind of long fingers, goes back over in there, and have a little bit of development. Really just kind of like escaping over. So when they go back, sites. Second or third sheet in.
This is the site plan.
if we could look at a floor plan and elevations, that would be great.
Yeah. So there's our floor plan, detached garage, 3 cars, single story, here's a little
trellis connection.
Yep.
Open porch, bedroom, living area.
Okay,
So this part is the highest part of the house. Got kind of a raised, roof line and a clear story.
okay, let's look at some elevation.
Elevations. So there too, I do have some 3D and some small inversions of it, into the board and back siding. Colors. You can zoom into that, see it right there.
One of them looks like 3110. If she does a lot of zooming, it'll really pack it in. 2110?
2110 here, right? That's. Right,
That one's 19.9.
yeah.
Okay.
Then put the top of it.
Yeah, that's good.
Roll up a little bit, so you can look at this right here, that's kind of.
Oops. Nope. You wanted to scroll down. We want you to roll the page up. Down. There we go. He wants to see the bottom of that page. There you go.
Oh, the sample. Yeah. Anyway, here's kind of the front door, under a front covered porch, there's our clear story, there's our high school. And.
Yep.
Yes,
And
2110.
then coming off of the door there is your trellis on the right, right?
Yeah, there's the trellis, which is kind of a section. Backside, that's
This is facing the neighbor.
facing the neighbor, yeah. North. There's the second. And this is the west elevation, there's parking lot, and first story again,
This is the pool side.
pool zone.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Here's our landscape, so again, we're gonna come in, we've got, we worked out with fire, and they can come in and actually stop here and get our hose lines all the way around. I have to do a hammerhead. But we have a little two-car open parking area here that's centered on the entry, and then up, here, back out of these spaces and, drive out front and the street. Landscape here, so we have septic, of course, we've got leach field there, our tanks are gonna sit under here, which are raised planter beds. We've got infiltration lines, advanced treatment running here, we've got one line over here. And again, we're gonna try and address and respect the existing trees that are along here. There's a pepper, I think, here somewhere. And there's some food on this neighbor's side food, or we're going to respect those as well. So it's a pretty empty lot at this point.
They're redwoods, aren't they?
Yeah, these are redwoods.
Yep.
What they're planting.
There was a set of plans that showed all the colors.
Yeah, we do have a color board in there too.
I don't know if it's on this.
Take a quick look at that. And we're ahead of things with the color board. We do have lighting that will be nice back and forth.
Yep, we need to look at lighting.
See, there's lines.
Let me see.
What are you thinking for colors?
Look at that Keenan plan though, that was.
This one?
Right there, yeah.
I think that's the one I have up.
Oh, is it?
Well, let me see.
It'll be like an off-white body, right? Already probably less than 84. Oh, okay. You can you take those?
You can just hold them up in front of your,
That document should be in.
Yeah.
yeah, if you hold them up right in front of your chest, the people online can see it.
Oh, okay.
The camera is right in front of you.
Oh, right here?
Yes.
Oh.
There you go.
Oh, okay, so we've got some stone elements there. See it
Yep.
there? Sandstone. Got an off-white body, and will be less than 84. The roof will be a gray tone. Painting. The wood on the barn is going to be kind of a weathered wood. The windows will rotate a dark frame. Oh.
All right. You have any questions for clarification?
I don't have any questions.
No questions? No questions?
I have a quick question. I just, when I was reading the back
Go back to the
information about the human apartment house, did that affect, do you have an easement there that's affecting? It's not,
We're not wondering that.
yeah, talked about it so much.
Yeah, we're one of the lots that's not affected by it. There's, I think 3 or 4 lots that need an easement to visually see that we're not one of them.
That should be.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think you were past it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do we have any public comment for this item?
We do not have anybody in the audience today and no one online to speak on this item. So no public comment.
Comment? Chuck, Chuck?
The only thing I really, the only thing I would suggest is maybe a little more screening between the headlights and the front entrance, and that part where the 2 cars come in. It looks like there's a couple of trees there that maybe we could consider adding a headlight screen. Yeah.
Look like a pony wall or something,
I'm sorry?
like a pony wall, like a
No, I was just thinking of pictures.
Oh, they just- okay.
You didn't want it at all. But
Excuse me, Gwen here again. I had a tough time hearing that comment. Could you repeat it one more time, please?
I'm recommending headlight screening for the, you call that the 2 corner parking.
Yeah, the open parking area.
Oh, headlight screening. Okay,
Yep.
thank
With
you.
plan.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have no comment.
Yeah, I figured somebody would say something about the colors. Okay, the only question the only comments I have is, could you talk a little bit, Bill, about the lighting plan?
Yeah, why it's not showing what we're doing, there should be some issues in there too.
Yeah, I think that there's a.
When did you share that with the planner?
Yeah.
I voted
Can-
personally in there.
Can we not talk about what isn't here and talk about what is? So,
So we do have lighting, we do a light plan, and
Yep.
we're going to do some warehouse type. Gooseneck, downlight fixtures, around the building where they're required. We'll have some probably in the Lanai area, of course, probably flanking the entry, and then on either side.
of the garage.
The garage, and we
Yep.
show them there on this illustration
Okay.
too.
All right,
So.
perfect. So,
Downlight.
so when we get our next submit, I'll make sure the lighting's shown on the elevations like that one. And, you know, I don't have any objections to the gooseneck, but on your lanai, you might think about doing things that were small fixture. That was up in the lanai instead of actually, so the lighting fixture itself isn't a feature.
Yeah.
It just puts the light where you want it when you need it. just, areas where you can eliminate the fixtures, and keep it dark. That's a nice little area back in there. I need you also to show the adjacent buildings from the neighbor for context on the site plan. I know this neighbor isn't as close, and you've got that little creek area here, but that one building right over there. So if you could just show it for context, that would be nice. And then, yeah, just to make sure that you're, you keep working on things and boogie on down the road. Is there a requirement for solar?
We'll have solar. Yeah, absolutely. You want to show that on the next? I think-
Yeah, just show it. We can't really tell you you can't have it or where to put it or anything, but it helps if you show it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be there, show it on the plan. And, any fencing you're gonna have for your pool, if you're gonna do that, or if you're just using
It's
a
on,
cover.
it's on the landscape plan.
All right, well, and then a detail to show us what the fence will look like, those kinds of things, just, come back. How do you want to come back?
Yeah. We
Return for preliminary.
take our gamble and come back with all of it and see how far we get.
We're comfortable with preliminary. If you provide more information and we feel really comfortable with it, we might say, oh, final and consent, But you don't really have to do all of the details you need for final to get us to that response.
Yeah.
But you do need to show us that if you fill all the boxes.
Yeah.
Okay?
Very good.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna call the next item number 5, 24 bar 4, Hollingsworth Barn and Agricultural Structures. And while we're pulling that up, we're gonna take a break.
You, I'm gonna speak to the supervisor.
For which one? Oh, for this one?
Yeah, this is terrible. All right, I can't see anything. And neither can anybody else.
Yeah, it's gonna put the full screen.
Okay.
Sounds good. I'll see, I was gonna follow up with, it was Steve, to see what items were missing. He was online.
Yeah, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying, I think what you have to do, I think staff has to urge people the day before they come to the meeting to get online and check and make sure it's here. Because the next time if something's missing, I'm gonna ask if the thing be booted.
Yeah,
All right?
okay, sounds good. This one has a lot of attachments though.
Yeah, a lot of those are pictures.
Oh, okay, cool.
I should, in the future, should I like organize it myself? Like make all the pictures in one folder?
Maybe, but that way, well, whatever, like however they're gonna want to present it. Because like the plans are like pretty big, so you don't want to put all those together, because then it slows it down.
Hmm.
So like less is better in the file, I guess. That's a lot of files.
It's good to have a break. Are you just gonna open everything up?
Should I, or do you know which ones you need?
Let's just do the ones you already opened some up, let's wait.
Oh.
As long as you have a memo and then A, those are very important. Yep, those two. And then the rest can just be the pictures. So you can leave everything you have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
we can use all.
And then these are the pictures?
Start with now with the trailers. We just want west. Start with west. Okay, yep. Maybe not. That's okay.
Oh, yeah.
She's gonna be walking through.
those, and then the one that says up there, four stalls, Seabar would be purview.
I thought.
Yes. And then the back. Is that all of it? Yeah, right?
Oh, that's welcome.
Yeah, I think that's all we need. Did you open up, where is it? I wanna get to the site. Can you make the, like, read the whole thing?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Right. The one in the north. This guy. The one underneath.
Oh, underneath, my bad. Hi, oh, this is Francisco. I'm Bethany Clef. I'm
Nice to
here.
meet you in person.
Help yourself.
Yes, that's all.
Yes. That's because my new one doesn't look it here.
Okay, step up here to the lectern.
Hi, I'm Jamie Collins, and I'm here to demonstrate.
Yo.
Sorry. I'm not sure the permit number, but it's in 125. And after all these presentations of the beautiful wineries and homes, I think I want to preface the whole thing with that this is a agricultural project. And in the stipulations for this neighborhood, they really favor agriculture. It says through entitlement of ordinance section 319, article 4 to chapter.
Ma'am, I'm gonna stop you real quick. I'm gonna stop you real quick and tell you what we're here today for.
Okay.
What we're here today for, this is the design review board. We don't get into land use. We don't get into whether it's zoned. We don't get into any of those kinds of things. All right. This is a design review board. The only things we're looking at, and actually I might have Francisco just run through it real quickly because I did read your memo and it is very precise. And I'm not sure everybody got a chance to look at it. But I'm going to have you recap that and just explain what we're going to be looking at. Yeah, he's got the memo right in front of him, I think. So what we're going to do is, there you go. So what this board looks at is we look at, and I hate to say this, mass, bulk, and scale of the buildings that are proposed, that are within our purview, because there are a couple that are not within our purview today. Everybody should be aware of that. And we look at colors and materials, and we look at the design of all four sides of the structure, and we look at site planning. That's all. We don't look at access specifically. We don't look at whether this is a permitted use. We don't look at, you know, we don't get into any of those kinds of things. All right, that's all land use, and that's planning commission, and it's way beyond what we're doing. Okay, so what I'm going to have you do is after Francisco does his little thing and tells us what we're going to be looking at and what he wants us to comment on and what we are not allowed to comment on, I'm going to ask you to make a presentation, and what I'm going to ask you to do is to just explain where these buildings are, walk us through. I would suggest you just start with the site plan, and then we look at the floor plan for each of the buildings that we're looking at, and we look at elevations. And that, you know, if you have a landscape plan, if you don't, that's okay. But whatever you have to present that's pertinent to our purview, I'm going to ask you to present it. And then I'm going to ask you on my board, I'm going to ask them if they have any questions of clarification. All right. And then we might ask you a couple of questions, or we might ask Francisco a couple of questions, or we might not have any questions at all. And in which case I'll go to public comment. And we have, I think, a couple of people online. And are you here for public comment? Potentially. All right. Well, go ahead and put in your slip. And then when I call time for public comment, what I'll do is I'll ask you if you wish to speak. And if you don't, that's fine. Or if you just want to get up and go, I hate it, or you want to get up and go, I love it, that's fine too. You can do, and that's okay. It's your 3 minutes. I'm gonna ask all members of the public who do comment on this project to please frame your comments within our very narrow purview, okay? So this is not the planning commission. We're not talking about zoning. We're not talking about use. We're not talking about can you have that number of animals. We're not talking about drainage, you know, septic or sewer. None of that's our purview. We're just looking at buildings, okay? So that's what we're gonna do. And after public comment, I'll come back to the board and we'll have some comments. Yes, Alan?
All that said, Madam Chair.
Yes.
I understand what you're saying, and it's perfectly right for you to tell the applicants and other people involved and what would help us out. They do have a perfect right to speak about anything they
Yes.
want to.
Yes, that's a very valid point. And I didn't say that. It's your public comment. If you want to talk about the color of the sky and the weather, knock yourself out. Okay, but if you address it to us, that helps us when we make our comments. Yeah, as it pertains to the project, it helps us. Okay? Francisco, you want to run through your, just what we're going to be looking at and what's in our purview and what isn't?
Of course, yeah, that was the purpose of my memo. I know it's lengthy, but I just wanted to present you the entire information.
Mhm.
And really what is within the CBAR's purview are two structures. One of them is the proposed 1,500 square foot barn. And the second one is an existing structure composed of 2 horse stalls connected by, I guess, an overhang roof. So because all the other development described in the LUP, that's just subject to the land use permit. Those are the only 2 structures subject to CBAR review.
Okay. Well, as Ms. Hollinger's making her presentation, if we stray, you can rein us back in.
Yes.
So pursuant to your memo, you're talking about, there was a mention of some skylining and there's a mention of the corridor. It's got some restrictions based on the view from 154.
That is correct.
Okay, so those are the things that we're looking at. We're looking at this within the context of the view from, because 154 is a view corridor through this section. So we're looking at that, and as it says here, it's supposed to utilize earth tone and all that kind of stuff. So that
is correct.
All right. So let's go ahead and pull up that plan again. Do you want to start with the plan, or do you want to start with some of the site pictures?
Let's just go through it. There's,
okay.
I think that the 2 structures that you're looking at here are the barn that says CBAR review, and then the little CBAR review for, of course.
Can we pull that up? Please?
Yep, can you zoom in?
And the horse stalls are 2 180 square foot Motel roofs that I got from Cactus Trail, and then the window came off, so I just put 3-sided wood on them, so that's what they're made out of, and then put a little
Awning in between.
awning to shape it.
Okay, and then you've got the barn, which is not an as-built. Is that a new
The
structure?
barn is a steel barn,
Huh?
and it's for, just for the horses. There's no lighting outside, horses don't need it. There's no vegetation because the horses eat it. And, just a simple barn, so if we keep going, I can show you pictures of it. And yeah, it's
I thought
not,
when we went saw.
The one that says attachment A has pictures.
want to just go through the whole, like that, the plans?
Can I look at this?
They are up there.
Okay,
They should be.
okay,
This has sheets after sheets on it. That's-
Yes, this is it.
okay.
That's okay, but, okay, so. I don't need to know.
There's that, yep, it is. You have to, there's a button on it.
Don't look at it. Don't look at the end of the first one.
I don't know.
There you go.
Okay.
Takes a while to load.
I think that's patient.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so. Here's. That's the little straw with the little tube between it.
Here, let her zoom in a little
Let
bit.
me zoom in because. This could be because of the file may just be,
Well, the file's big.
yeah, that's why that's why it's doing that.
Here's a picture of it.
Okay,
And that's the other little, see the Maryland code, two sides, and there's a in there. Was, yeah, you're not looking at that one, so this is it again here. And again, here, the other side. And that's it. And as far as the barn's concerned, the picture here, this picture here, is the location of the barn, so I've changed the location 3 times trying to get the farthest away from the view corridor, and I think that we found on the site visit that there's just no chance that you're gonna be able to see it when it's stuck all the way back to the back of the barn. The nice thing about that site is there was a previous plan that was for Larry Schaefer that was permitted on this property in 2010. And he did a lot of the infrastructure, so there's a road.
yeah. I think we're only concerned with the two structures,
Okay,
so
okay,
so
then
keep
we
going.
go on. And I'll show you what the first.
Yep, that's what we want to know.
You told me to keep scrolling, yeah.
Yep. Okay, so this is the barn.
That's the outside barn and the openings, but I'd love to show you like the 3D rendition, reading the road, see what
Yep.
it's all about.
Or just an elevation.
Yep.
This,
That's not it.
That's not it?
that's not
And
it.
that's not it, the trailer's leaving. It's not part.
Go ahead, keep going. Yeah, I saw that the trailer was gonna be removed in
I
Francisco's.
moved it in those plans.
Yeah, is this the barn?
This is the barn.
Okay,
And it's from, Michigan, it's steel barn, and then it has a nice little overhang, and you can keep going. It has one where it's colored in, where it's really pretty. See, it's got that nice little overhang, so it's got a really nice little barn. Not just a metal building, and this location is pretty much right under that big red barn that they built across from Los Angeles Street, right above Brandon Figure. And if you can keep going, there's even a better one of it. It's really. It's not a house. Yeah, see, there it is.
and these are your colors.
And those are my colors. That's the thing in our farm. No electricity, no septic.
Can you go back to the site plan?
I'm about to have on the first page one.
Mm-hmm. Next one down. Or it's this one here that says site plan? There we go. Okay, and where is 154 relative to?
151 is.
That's what I thought. Okay, can you
And the
zoom
new corridor
out?
pretty much goes up this canyon. Like that. And then here, the elevation is so great. That you can't see up over this, going up this. But the view corridor that you can see goes that.
it was on May.
Uh-huh.
We did a site visit on Monday and we took some pictures of the V corridors from the 154. Those are under attachment A. Those are part of my memo. I don't know if you guys got through the entire memo, so. They were also taken from my phone, so they're not, extremely high quality, but you can tell that the proposed barn location is not, yeah.
The one in the foreground, that's in Rancho Necesita. Yeah. That can be put up a hundred and a half.
Oh, so that red structure is not on your property?
No.
That's brand new.
Yes, and it's also, we thought that when we wrote Shannon that it was like 24 feet higher than where mine.
I don't recall the height, but it was definitely higher elevation where we were standing.
Here. This is a big slope here between here and here. My property is down on this level down here. And then it's down and then that one. And rendered. And elevation.
And this is from her site.
From
Yes.
where I'm thinking, putting the farm, and it would be like here. And those are the trees that are at the base of the hill, but you can't see anything even close to 154 because it's so much higher and it's so far away.
Okay.
Right now, growing.
I can interject here. That's an exhibit we prepared. Those are just the viewpoints where the pictures were taken from.
And on this one, the barn is going to be located here. That's the barn. And we agree to see more shit.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Do you keep stay on that for a minute?
Yes.
When you get to questions.
Okay. All
It's
right.
so long to load these.
Do we have any questions? Yes.
Just looking at the site, I'm just curious that because the color of your site looks so different than the surrounding rangeland, is that all under cultivation?
So all of it is for horses. But I put under cultivation this side up here and this side down here because I want to change the species. It's right now it's fiddleneck. And I want it to not fiddleneck. So the climax species is wild oats and I actually harvested 600 pounds of wild oats. And I planted it with that. So this is planted here. Yep, all of that's planted. And then I planted up here too. So the horses right now have this area. But actually it's green because my neighbor Amen has been letting me use this whole field here for the grazing, so they haven't impacted the grass on this part yet, because they will. And in the summertime, I have 2 bulls coming, so I want them to be playing in the green grass hayfield. Then after that, the horses are gonna eat it all down again, and then we're gonna have to grow it up again, because I don't want it to change into what it was before.
Gotcha.
This looked into a-
Next question?
I just have another question on your little 3-sided structure with the shade cloth. Is that remaining? That's the other building we're supposed to look at, but is that just remaining as is?
I'm not sure which building we're talking about.
I thought we.
Oh, the
had
shade
buildings.
Go to the.
Between the 2 little 480 square foot stalls.
Yeah,
Whichever one the plans are in.
that's just gonna stay. I just want to be clear, that's staying the way it is. You're not doing any, I don't want to say any revisions to that.
No, the horses love it the way it is. I hope we
Okay,
can.
that's fine.
That's all you needed to know.
No,
Okay.
nothing. Yeah, I'm looking to just stay the way that is, right? I can hope everything is. staying the way it is.
Okay, so let's move to public comment, and again, as indicated earlier, I think we have one person here in the room, and I think we have potentially 2 online. They've been hanging around all meeting, so this is your chance. You just need to raise your hand to indicate you wish to speak. And we're gonna limit public comment to 3 minutes. I was getting there. 3 minutes each. If somebody else mentions something, if you have a lot to cover and somebody else mentions something that you agree with, you can just say, I agree with the previous speaker. Makes it go faster and you can cover everything you need to say. Again, it's your 3 minutes, use them as you like, but as explained earlier, our purview is pretty specific and narrow, so. All right, Mr. Wood?
Can I get last?
Yeah, we can ask for people online. I think we have somebody online.
So we have, is it Nazi?
Nazi?
Nazi.
Okay,
You hear
all
me?
right. Yes, we can.
Okay, great, thank you. I guess I'm not necessarily opposed to having Jeannie build a barn. I just want, my husband and I, not just me, want to make sure that it adheres to the architectural structures that are in our community. That's one of the only lots that currently doesn't have a home on it. It would only have barns on it. So, and there's currently other sheds or barns on the property. Will this new barn, once it's built and meets the county requirements, will those other smaller random structures continue to stay on the property?
I think the planner addressed what's staying and what's leaving in his memo earlier.
Can you sum it up for quickly?
Yeah.
The trailer leaves and
Yeah, let me look at that summary. So,
And can you allude to what page you've written out, so you can look it up at home if you want to?
of course. So this is on page 4 of the memo that was uploaded to the CBAR folder. And basically everything is remaining. The things that are going to, actually, yeah. So the following structures and the RV will be required to be removed prior to land use permit approval. That's the RV stored on site and potentially the 96 square foot shed at the southwest portion of the property. Those would be the only 2, I guess, structures required to be removed as part of the land use.
and that's the 8x12 shed.
This one.
No, it's actually the one on the west
This one.
there.
Ma'am, can you hear him?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
So the RV will be removed and so will the,
A shed that is being indicated on the screen at the moment.
okay. I mean, those are basically our concerns, is for it to, we just bought this property in May of 2023. We're new to the valley. Currently, we live there part-time. We plan on living there full-time shortly. And our concern is property values. And from my driveway, when I pull up into my driveway, I can see both the RV and the shed, which are kind of a sight for sore eyes. And if there's a barn going up, I would like it to adhere to the neighborhood standards and enhance our property values, not decrease them.
Okay. That concludes your comment?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, anyone else online? You should go ahead and mute yourself. There you go.
If you do want to speak on this item, Wendy, please raise your hand. You can do so by dialing *6 on your phone also.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So just for my identification, in order for this to be finally permitted, those items have to be removed of the property?
Yes.
Okay.
And let me rephrase that. The shed can be relocated within the approved building envelopes, but right now it's outside of the building envelope, so that's why it would be required to be removed or relocated.
All right.
And then Craig Wood.
I'll just
I agree with everything Melody said. Our concern has always been the junkiness of it all. The pieces don't feel very cohesive. So that is our concern about lowering property values as well. Because view from an outhouse, we see particularly the van that's going, the trailer that's going. You've tidied up down, is it the chicken coops, you call it? That's been tidied up, but it's been a mess for a long time. That shed apparently is going, which is an eyesore from us too. So those are good things. It's the cohesiveness of it all that I would like to see talk about.
Okay,
That's it. Thank you.
thank you. All right. Our comment?
My only comment is I'd like to see the fascia be a darker color than the sort of light beige.
Okay. The barn.
Yeah.
It's always.
So
She's gonna make her
whole building feels a little more recessive, but I like the structure of the barn.
Okay. And the kind of the as-built condition of that.
The as-built condition. There's no architecture there. I have no way to even comment on that. It's just a couple thrown up horse shelters with some shade cloth. So there you go. I have no comment on it.
Okay. Anybody else?
I guess I have a question for Francisco. The structures that are there that are needing permitting, normally we have a landscape plan with our submittals. Wouldn't this need something like that? Not just I know the barn looks like it doesn't necessarily need one because it is not viewable from the 124, but I guess I need clarification about when a landscape plan is needed. To me, there's quite a bit of erosion on the site, uncontrolled wind and water erosion. So I know that's not our purview, but doesn't it need a landscape plan? Is my question.
Short answer is no. We went out to the site and looked pretty well revegetated. The only stuff that was left undisturbed were the roads. So I would talk to my supervisor about that, but I don't think we could require a landscape plan since technically there is no grading either proposed. And all those structures are existing.
Yeah. Good. I don't think I have anything else to add.
Actually, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Back to the horse shelters. Why are those before us?
Because they triggered that they're over 1,000 square feet with the shade cloth.
With the shade cloth?
Yes. She can remove them from our purview if she removes the shade cloth.
Okay. Further no comment.
I think my only comment goes to the cohesiveness of your site planning. It looks like this has been a very organic, kind of as needed, grows, something pops up, I need a shed here. And, oh, well, I could use a little extra storage here. So it looks like things have just kind of dropped, It's kind of a scattergun. And I think you could do yourself and your neighbors some good here by, especially when you're doing the barn and everything else. If you really take a look at things and the way you've got some things clustered on the maybe the west side of the site, and just really think about it the next time you need an extra thing, or if you're going to build a shade structure or anything like that, and just really just kind of be cognizant about how everything is interacting together. And I think that would go a long way towards making the neighborhood happier. And I think you'll be happier with it too, because I think it'll function in a more thoughtful way. instead of just, oh crap, that shed's over there. I wish I hadn't put it there, right? You know,
That
so,
doesn't happen because you put it exactly where they need it.
well, but things change, things change. And so that's what I'm saying. So, you know, kind of a holistic approach to the whole thing and just kind of think about it. And when one of those sheds needs a new coat of paint, think about what colors, and, you know, you might think about matching some of the things so that they're all similar colors, so it starts to.
Because they haven't been painted.
Right, so that's a good way to work at making it cohesive and things start to read together and it looks neater, it looks kept. So,
And then we can use those sheds, like the one, the other
yeah,
ones.
so those are some ideas that has nothing to do with our purview. That's just an idea, I'm throwing it out there for you to consider. But I think that Puck's comments about the barn and the as-built, with the awning it's just, it is what it is. Like, so, but I will say one last thing on that, the as-built, on those 3 walls you put up, those panels, I don't know what they're made out of. But you might think about matching the colors for your barn and putting some protector on them, because if they're just, you know, wood panels, even if they're treated, eventually they're gonna start to look kind of hinky and they might warp and twist. And so if you put some protector on them now and it matches, so then you get that thing going.
Which ones are you talking about?
I'm talking about the 3 sides that you put up around your little, your as-built with the awning structure, the horse stalls.
What are you talking about?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would get some protectant on those wood stalls. Right, so that they last, and then, and if it starts to, you know, if those are the same colors as some of the sheds, you know, you pick a color and a scheme and then you carry it out across the site, I think it'll go a long ways. Towards longevity, but also towards aesthetics, and that's the only thing I have to say.
Yeah.
All right, are we done?
Yeah.
How do we want to see this come back?
Yeah.
Preliminary final.
Yeah, so come back preliminary final, and why don't you go ahead and pick your colors? And if you come in with those, submit a color board, Francisco can help you with that. And if you go ahead and do that, you can make that a part of the submittal if you want, and especially about the little horse stalls. If you pick a color for those to be painted.
These colors, right?
Perfect, but work with Francisco and get that all together and he'll show you what you need to do and what you need to return with. And I think the drawings are good as is.
That is a requirement to fill in the wood facing on the horse stalls. will
Match the barn.
Match the barn.
Barn body. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, good. All right.
Sounds good to me. Okay?
Motion to adjourn.
No,
Oh,
we have to do the minutes. All right.
Oh, good.
All right, so, oh, it looks like we've had another personality switch and we got Nicole back. Ready to do the minutes? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Could I be given screen sharing?
Yep, she's working on it.
Do we have to recuse ourselves? Do we have to go outside?
No, you do not. You just stay right
Okay,
there
there
and
you
we'll talk about it real quick.
Okay.
Because we're not opening the item. We're just crafting them.
And if you say something, you gotta leave the state of the
All right, Nicole.
So let me just go to the top.
Okay.
Okay, so, and let me know if you want me to zoom in.
No, I think this is good. I think you could say where there are different roof lines. Add height on all elevations, including following the roof line as it increases and decreases. How's that? The public road is Highway 246.
Blowing that up.
Yes. Oh, that would be uniform.
Well, turn the light off and it might help a little bit. There we go.
Original site.
Yeah. As far as number 3, to prevent skylining of the structures, reduce building height it is also possible in conjunction with reducing building height to push the buildings slightly lower in elevation. I'm gonna lose my train of thought. To push the buildings slightly lower in elevation. Okay, simply pushing the buildings into the ground is not sufficient. Overall building height needs to be reduced. We didn't say it in the meeting. I did say this. And I think that takes care of it. And I think that you can eliminate number 4. I think you can combine 5 and 6. Yeah.
Get rid of less is more.
Oh, I meant 4 and 5 before you remove the 1. I'm sorry. So combine the lighting. Actually, 5 that's 5. Just combine 4 and 5. Put all the lighting together. And I think you could say the project is overlit. West elevation does not appear to need any lighting as there are no program elements. Yeah, I'm getting there. Okay, lighting the building facade is not necessary and is undesirable and not necessary.
Do you want me to just say, do not light the building facade? Remove lighting of the building facade?
Well, I specifically told them that it can be nice when you're lighting the building facade, but in this case, it doesn't add anything to it except for the requirement of more lighting. So, there's not really an easy way to capture what I said, except for to say, don't light the building facade. Anybody have a suggestion for that? And let's go to Alan's comment about less is more. The project is overlit, and I would just saying less is more, say, exercise restraint in the amount of lighting to what is strictly necessary. And then so lighting is very low, reduce the lighting of the I think it's reduced lighting of interior courtyard and parking area. How about we just say eliminate lighting the building facade wherever possible? Guys, I'm floundering here. I could use some help.
Is it uplighting or downlighting?
It's just all lighting.
No, I mean on the building facade.
It was down, it was mounted on the building.
Oh.
Okay, does that, okay with everybody? Yeah. It seems a little, like, off a little bit.
Aye.
Okay, so that's where I was going next. Go ahead.
I said serious.
Yep,
Back to 4, I think this one, she has west elevation does appear to need any lighting, but it doesn't appear.
yep, thank you.
I can't hear.
There's too many people talking. West elevation does not appear to need any lighting. We need the negative in there, does not. That good catch, Lou. Seriously got in the wrong spot, didn't it?
Yes.
Seriously, concerned about continued erosion in the arroyo. And how to mitigate it. And that ties, that's great. And how to mitigate it. Please present an approach to mitigation. When you return. Okay.
That's exciting about that.
I think you can say that there is potential with earlier elevation changes. By opportunities to reduce the paving area in the parkings. That's what I'm trying to get to here, guys, help me. That was, what she had there was celebrate the difference in elevation in the employee parking area, ramp may be needed. And what I said was that with the changes that are occurring, that we're talking about, you know, lowering the building, pushing it down, they may be able to create, they may create some elevation changes between the parking and the building that would require a ramp, but it's also an opportunity to maybe reduce that amount of paving, because there's a big, huge chunk of paving back there.
We think the parking area.
Okay. Reconsider the parking layout on the back side of the building in conjunction with any proposed changes. How's that? Thanks.
Is that giving them enough information to tell them what you don't like about the parking area?
Reconsider the parking layout and quantity of paving. There you go. Perfect, Nicole. And then you can take the rest of it all out. I think that's great. And I don't think we said return for preliminary review. I think we discussed bringing it up to the level of a preliminary review, but that's the point at which it would go to the next decision maker. We wouldn't actually be taking the preliminary action, so it's going to be returned for further conceptual.
Did any of the points that we talked about happen and do with the cell phone there? Yeah, so that was a question.
Great.
Because I would actually like to see it if it's 24 feet wide, or if that was just.
He said 20. I thought he said 24. He said 24. Okay.
Scott said he would say it.
It didn't look like a 24-foot line.
Well, next time it comes, you have an
I wasn't
opportunity.
sure if that had.
I don't believe it was
I
dimensioned
guess
either.
referring to his question before.
Yeah. Okay, let's go on to Spence. Let's get the heck out of Dodge. We got 6 minutes. Applicant is doing the same thing. Okay, so, I think number one is, I don't think we need number one, right? Huck?
No.
The proposed remodel. I think is supported by the board. That's not in doubt. Applicant is continuing the same style and detail. That could be combined with number one.
Right.
And then, include notes on plans. And then I put in parentheses, required on elevations. That D key just want to stick, doesn't it?
It does that to me all the time.
That all details, colors, and materials that match existing, return for a preliminary and final review. That's right. Next. Okay, consider providing, screening of headlights at the entry by using landscaping. Okay, you want to say entry area?
Is that also the way to get out of the garage?
Yep, that would be interesting, yes. Yeah, I didn't,
No way to get out.
Well,
but nobody said anything, so.
Well, I think it's their problem.
Include lighting on elevations on lanai, consider small fixtures in the lanai, says the lighting itself is not featured yet. Show adjacent buildings from neighbors for context on site plan. Show plan, solar panels on the plan, show fencing detail for fencing around the pool. Care for preliminary.
good.
That's fine.
Okay,
Yes.
next. I think you said you would like to see the fascia be you specified the color, which was it to match?
Darker.
I just did a dark.
Okay. Okay,
Good.
okay.
Yeah.
I said, how about if we do for number 2, consider adding cohesiveness between the structures on the site by painting the structures the same or similar color.
You're shooting in the dark. The only way to make all those structures cohesive is to spread white glue on it.
No, it's good.
We're just trying to stay in our lane.
Banana bread's over there. No, it's over there. I'm gonna turn. Was it good? I like ginger in my banana bread, but. Horse shelters do not have architectural elements per se, and the board does not have any comments except recommending adding protection, i.e. paint, to the wood portions.
That would match
the
proposed barn.
There we go.
And end of story.
Match or supplement.
Paint to the wood portions to match. Yep.
Compliment. The door open and then push down the front legs.
Okay, so accept recommending adding paint to protect the, okay, color to match the barn. Perfect, thank you. Perfect. Return for preliminary, yep. I think we done.
We're done. Wow.
Was that a motion to adjourn that I heard?
11:50.
Second.
Okay, that was Alan and seconded by Park. All in favor? Aye.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nicole. And thank you to Gwen. I know she's not here.
Bethany, good job.